Pylon listeners, we are back after the wild card weekend has officially wrapped up and another end to another NFC North team, the Chicago Bears. So now there's only one remaining. Before we get into all that, let's go around to the Pylon crew. So I'm Big Z representing the Detroit Lions. Let's go around to the rest. So we got Kinger representing the Packers.
Big Z, you took the line right out of my mouth, and then there was only one. Go Pack. Happy to be back with you boys.
Then there's Remy representing the Vikings.
It's wild card weekend, baby. Us Viking fans are wilding out on the couch. Skull Vikes.
And then last but not least, joining the Lions and the Vikings out of the playoffs now is the Chicago Bears. Barney representing them, of course.
That sounded like you were just waiting all season to be able to say something like that. So, good to be back, boys.
How nice of you to join us, Barney. How nice of you to join us.
Oh, boy. So, let's get into that game, Barney. It was ugly. This was an ugly game. 21-9 loss to the New Orleans Saints. The defense actually stepped up for the first time in a few weeks, finally. And they were down a bunch of people, and you can get into that a little bit, but the offense returned to mid-season form. So, Barney, just break this down for us here. Was this game more on the offense, more on the defense? What do you feel?
I'd say it was mostly on the coaching. Honestly, if we're going to lose a game, in this first round, I'm glad it was lost in this fashion. Because I think it's clear we have our answer. The ball is in McCaskey's court. Nagy, he just can't let his ego, subside for just 60 minutes. He's got to be the guy who's got the influence on the game script. He's just doing the same old dumb shit that makes no fucking sense. We had a third down. And 3, and he takes out who I think is probably our best guy on our offense, David Montgomery at this point, but definitely our second best guy if you want to stick that with A-Rob, which I won't fight you with you on that, but he takes him out to run the ball with Ryan Nall.
I didn't even know who that was till today.
And yeah, I think Ryan Nall probably has, he's been on the team for 3 or so years. He probably has under 50 snaps and has probably touched the ball only about 4 or 5 times. But Nagy just he's so in over his head, man. He is such a fucking idiot. One of my favorite things after the game was, he has his press conference, and of course the first thing he does is I got to tip my cap to Sean Payton and all those guys. They have an incredible team, and he's such a fucking coward. But they ask him about the drive going into halftime. I don't know if you guys recall, but to paint the picture, it was 1st and 10. Bears had the ball on our 18-yard line. And there was 1 minute and 49 seconds on the clock. And one of the beat writers said, hey, just, walk me through what you were thinking. You went 3 straight runs. Just wanted to know what was your thought process there? And Nagy said, you know what? It was the field position. I didn't like the field position. So I just didn't want to have to give the ball over to them and for them to have another shot at scoring. And that is what a fucking loser says. This guy, we had 1 minute and 49 seconds left on basically, a touchback, right? We're on the 18-yard line, and he's talking about field position. He's just such a fucking loser. I am so tired of watching this stale-ass offense. The Lions, if they get the ball with 40 seconds left, you don't even need 40 seconds left. You got a guy like Stafford who's just he's all for it. He's like, all right, this is enough time for me to score. In Green Bay, we know that guy, if he has somewhere within, 30, 40 seconds, he's looking to at least get to the other side of the field and maybe put up a field goal. But our fucking coach in a 7-3 playoff game is thinking about when there's just under 2 minutes. It's just is thinking about running his 4-minute offense and running out the clock. It is so pathetic that we give this guy a break week in and week out. And you know what? You can count that touchdown all you want at the end of the game. I won't. Even though it was Jimmy Graham and
I will for my tease, Barney. I put the Bears in a teaser. That covered it for me. So thank you, Jimmy Graham.
But we scored 3 points. We scored 3 points in that game. And it's because Nagy just can't get out of the way of his own fucking self. I am so beyond happy with the fact that we got fucking smoked because the turnout was a loss. It was such a demoralizing game just to watch that. I think the trio of Trubisky, Nagy, and Pace, they've all seen their last day as a Bear. And just
Barney,
before,
what are you hearing?
Before I say anything, you know what really pissed me off about this game is it's set up. Trubisky is kind of the odd man out right now for next year because his contract's up, right? We have all this money guaranteed to Nick Foles. So it's kind of hard to want to justify bringing both these guys back, and Trubisky might be dumb enough to think that he deserves a contract north of $6 million, which some team might give it to him, but that'd be a joke. But this is his game to fight for his NFL relevancy going forward. And I think it was the second drive of the game. We had a 4th and 4. And he rolled out and he tried to run for it. And he just decided to give up and go out of bounds 2 yards short of the first down. He wasn't hit. He went out by himself on 4th down. And that is just like that. You couldn't have scripted a more Bears way to play this fucking game today. It was brutal. It was brutal on all accounts. I do think one thing that was Bush League, I didn't like a lot of the calls that were put out there. I won't lie, I was a little frustrated. It's just because it was a close game for most of the game. But you had that Duke Shelley interception overturned, whatever. You had a couple things going on, but we got in, I want to say around the 15-yard line. 20-yard line, and Cole Kmet makes a great play, gets up, turns, throws the ball at the ref, a light toss at the ref, and he gets a 15-yard fucking penalty. Big C, you said, it's called all the time.
Looking at it again, I agree with you.
And that is just picturesque, like, I'm not going to get into shit about how I fucking hate referees. I think they're jokes. But we get into the red zone, and then they give us a 15-yard penalty. And that at the time it was 7-3 or 7-0, whatever it was. Like, I mean, that to not have your offense working and then absolutely get, have a position to threaten to score and have to bail out and get 3 because referee is a fucking, I'm not going to say it, a fucking moron. It's just, it was brutal. It was brutal. That referee should be just absolutely smoked in the face.
Yeah, Remy, we got something to add here with Barney saying.
Yeah. So, question, was Darnell Mooney injured this game? Was he out?
Yeah, Darnell Mooney, he took a big hit in Green Bay, and they're saying it's his ankle, but yeah, he was out.
Definitely
because you look at that beautiful wide receiver reverse touchdown. I mean, you couldn't have drawn it up any perfect. And I know guys aren't perfect, but why on earth? I thought, where's Mooney? So that's my lack of ignorance. I mean, you normally have probably Mooney run that since he's faster, and momentum changes if Mooney's in the game. My question to you, Barney, is seeing this playoff game, and they're the Saints, they're tough, but they're beatable, as you've seen in past years, particularly with my Vikings in walk-off fashion. But seeing the way this team performed in a playoff game with Mitch Trubisky, Are the Bears farther behind than you thought they were heading into the season midway through? Are the Bears further along than what you thought they were?
Yeah, to be totally honest with you, I don't really know how to answer that question. I will say going into today was a good day for my wallet. It's all about knowing your personnel, and I enjoyed today's game, the outcome. I bet on it every single way that I could, and I came up smelling.
It's fun to watch. Your team in the playoffs.
Smelling like roses. But walking into the game, we had our secondary in shambles. And then Roquan Smith not playing, and then one of our bright spots on offense, Darnell Mooney not playing. I mean, I don't know.
You think it's a different game?
I don't know if you were expecting there to be a better game, but I thought what I saw is exactly what I thought was going to fucking happen.
I thought Shelley stepped up pretty good today, Barney.
I guess more long term though, like, do you think Chicago, with this team surrounding them, a question mark at quarterback, question mark on the offense if they're going to extend A-Rod. First, they need to get an offense. And, I mean, you guys, this is no knock, but you guys need a dominant offense to keep up with these shootouts. Is this going to take a season or two to get the Bears back to relevancy?
Good question. We'll see. Only time will tell. I will say, two guys that I expect to play better and be an absolute force on our defense this year. They just weren't. And though I touched on it before this in the preview of this game, Akeem Hicks and Eddie Jackson. Those guys got to play better for the money that they're making. This team.
Akeem Hicks shut Dalvin down. Akeem Hicks is good when he plays. Don't get me wrong.
No, you're right. It's just he this year he's decided to be kind of a fucking idiot sometimes, and he's one of the most penalized players in the entire game. But to answer your question, dude, I think we are an offensive line. Obviously, I would really like. I think we definitely need a quarterback. I'm not bringing that up because I think all four of us can agree on that. But if we use that first round draft pick on an offensive tackle, and we hit with that guy, I think we get Eddie Goldman back at the nose plug. It's more the same of low scoring games, but I don't like. I mean, the way we're built, I think we'll always kind of be in games, especially for next year. But I don't know who the fuck the quarterback's going to be. I mean, Mitch,
Cam Newton.
What are you hearing about Nagy and Trubisky? Because a couple weeks ago, it sounded like it was really positive. Like both were going to be coming back next year. Now, with a result like this, you don't know. And by the way, Bears picking 20th in the draft or this year.
What am I hearing? I as far as Trubisky goes, it's a shame, but he's done. He's not playing for the Bears anymore unless he takes a ridiculously low contract. As far as Nagy goes, I mean, it's clear to me he's not the guy. His philosophy's all wrong. He wants to play flag football out there. He is such a fucking loser. And I mean, like, using the word, like, he is a loser. He loses. He sucks. Like, he is so bad. He has such a loser mentality. Like, you can't survive with a guy like that. And you were right. The general odds were with Nagy returning. And I bet they still are because the McCaskies, at the end of the day, they're a very cheap ownership. And he's got a year left on his deal. So I could totally see them just taking the John Fox approach. Let's draft the quarterback here, but let's not sack the coach, and let's just waste one year. Like, I mean, we just do dumb move after dumb move that I wouldn't be shocked if Nagy is still around next year. But I think it is clear as day that Trubisky, Nagy, and Pace should all take the fucking Greyhound back to Chicago tonight because as far as I'm concerned, fucking sack them right now, all three of them.
All right, I know Kinger's been dying to add something to this, so Kinger, I'll let you go. No, man, sorry.
No, I just want to share a couple thoughts, right? Because I actually want to throw a little bit of positivity in regards to that first half. Ultimately, I think, Barney, you made a comment. The game was very ugly to start, right? It definitely wasn't great football. Very low scoring, a lot of back and forth, not a lot of offense. Like we already discussed, Bears defense stepped up today. And I really think, like you've already discussed, it didn't seem like Nagy and that coaching staff was coaching to win that football game, right?
No.
Breeze is driving, with 2-3 minutes left in the first half. They get that big third down stop. Like you said, they get the ball on the 18-yard line to run 3 straight run plays, right? If I'm a head coach at that point, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to be throwing the ball. I'm going to be trying to get at least 3 because on top of that, you make it a 7-6 game and then you're getting the ball at halftime as well. You have the opportunity to get back-to-back possessions to score some points, right? It made no sense to me. And the fact that they ran the ball, like we already discussed 3 times, it was shocking. And then, Nagy also said something in his post-game conference or post-game press conference about, they spent time this week talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson and not allowing the Javon Wims incident to happen again. And what exactly comes out and happens again today? Anthony Miller gets himself thrown out of the game. I actually thought the Bears were outplaying the Saints in the first half. It wasn't ugly, but to me, It felt like they could have been winning that football game. And then to come out and obviously just throw up a complete dud in the second half and to continue to make some of those mental errors, you really do have to question that coaching staff's ability to get those guys ready. Because I do think the defense played well today. There were a couple calls that went against the Bears, and I'll be honest, right? Like I said, I was going back and forth with buddies saying the same thing. So it felt like they should have made that a football game, and it should have been a lot closer than what it was. So you got to really question some of that.
The interception that they overturned, I thought that was a bad call too. That was not clear and obvious.
As far as
it hit the ground, but there wasn't enough evidence.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, unfortunately though, like it's at the point where at any point, if it goes into a review, I just always assume it's going to go against the Bears. And I did not think there was enough conclusive evidence. They keep throwing that fucking word out there. I don't know what conclusive means anymore because every fucking time, whether it's the fumble last week or this or that, like everything's conclusive. And I'm just like, I have no idea what the fuck the word means because I don't know what the fuck they saw that, that changes shit. But, I will say, Big Z, you said Duke Shelley stepped up today. Yeah, I think he played pretty well. But
Eddie Jackson, not a good game. He looked terrible today, I thought.
Yeah, he did. But next year's going to be interesting. We got an off season ahead of us that we're sort of strapped right now for cash. We got the most expensive defense in the league. I wouldn't be shocked if one or maybe even 2 of our big name guys on defense is not part of the Bears.
Oh yeah, and I like Kinger's point too. I want to make the fact that the Bears seem undisciplined today, and that kind of goes back into coaching. Anthony Miller, what is he? Does he still have a year left on his?
You got to be getting fed up with him if you're a Chicago fan, man. That guy he talks so much shit too out there, and he doesn't back it up. He really does.
Anthony Miller is a Aldi's gangster, man. He is like he wants to talk the smoke, but
what's an Aldi's gangster?
Like a generic version. Like he is so like all talk and like, I mean, he's not a team player. Like, I mean, you cannot, it kills me. I don't understand the brain cells in some of these people. And it's not just him. There's plenty of them in the league that, you're in a playoff game nonetheless. And just like Kinger said, they talked about number 22 Gardner's, how he gets under people's skin and that, what happened with Javon Wims, and we can't have that happen again. And we're driving and the guy decides to do some shit like that. Like he is so on my short list that he's pathetic. And the sad thing is this year before the season started, nobody thought Mooney would be anything, and the clear number 2 at the start of the season for our wide receivers was was Anthony Miller, and boy, did he just fall off the fucking face of the earth. He sucks.
And the other one was jumping off sides on a clear and obvious attempt by the Saints to get them to jump off sides on what was it, fourth down?
Eddie Jackson, fourth down.
Right? Yeah, that was not a good look either. I thought that was a clear and obvious situation where they're trying to get you to jump off sides.
Did any of you guys tune into the game on Nickelodeon?
The slime, baby.
Absolutely.
God, that was so cringe. The announcers, they did a good job, but
at
one time it was referred to as a court.
Dude,
and they would always make references to like cartoons.
Well,
it was
it's
cool,
on Nickelodeon.
But
I'm gonna give Nate.
I know it was cool.
Nate Burleson did a lot of.
thing to do.
Nate Burleson gets a lot of credit for breaking that down for the kids, and some of the references he made. It was definitely pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
I will give him credit for that.
I won't hate on it. Nate's a good commentator, and
I wish I tuned into that because, dude, I'll tell you, Tony Romo. I don't know if he's just comfortable or if he just doesn't know a goddamn thing about the Bears, but he is his opinions. I don't think I had ever watched a game and listened to somebody and thought every time they opened their mouth that when he was speaking on behalf of the Bears, like, wow, you are so wrong. Like he was there lobbying the entire fourth quarter.
Have you ever listened to Colin
the entire
Cowherd?
Fourth quarter? He was
Nagy?
lobbying for Nagy to keep his job, saying, "Oh, he's brought him to the brought him to the playoffs 2 years. First off, the first year was our complete defense, not him. Like it's hard to win in this league, and he's gone to the playoffs twice now, and it's like, dude, he's the only one that's stepping on our goddamn toes, and that's why we keep fucking losing. But hopefully." The McCaskies, they weren't listening to Tony Romo because, God, dude, I mean, if they take his advice, I'm gonna shoot him myself.
The only defense for Romo is that he didn't have his usual week of prep before a game where he gets to talk to team and members and stuff because he was literally announcing that game from his basement, which is kind of great.
I heard some Jim Nantz hostility out there from Bears fans on Twitter today too. Was there was that some truth behind that as well, Barney, or no?
Could have been. I was so fixated on Romo though. I didn't catch.
I mean, Nance wanted that last touchdown to happen so badly when it was clearly and obviously short of the goal line. He was like, "Did I see it? I'm pretty sure I saw a lace go over that goal line there." He said it over and over and over.
Are you talking about with Breeze?
Yeah, on the quarterback sneak. Like, it was clear and obvious that ball did not cross the goal line, and Nance was just pushing hard for it. Like everybody's like, why? Why is he pushing for it? Nance must have had money involved with that touchdown because he was pushing hard for a touchdown that was clearly and obviously not there.
Brutal.
And there was a couple other instances like that, too, like the interception, Barney, that the Bears got overturned that we just discussed earlier. Nance was pushing for that to be a turnover as well. So I can see why Bears fans would be complaining about Nance's a little favoritism towards the Saints in this game.
Yeah, but as far as the day goes, I will say I'm up 400 on the Bears game, so it was pretty nice. I had a couple prop bets that hit, and it definitely softens the blow.
Which prop bets did you hit for our listeners' entertainment here?
I went under on Trubisky's yardage. I think it was like 240. I went well. Cole Kmet. I laid a lot of juice for Cole Kmet. 2.5 receptions. But when I say it, I'll tell you all the time. If you absolutely know without a doubt, just lay the juice. If you're not scared to lay the juice, or if you can lay the juice, just lay the juice because. 2.5 receptions. He has in the last 5 or 6 weeks, he's been averaging 6 or 7 targets. And they keep giving him the ball 2 yards or less past the line of scrimmage. So they're pretty much screens and they're undroppable. But it was a good day. It was a good day.
Yeah.
Was I the only one who had the Bears plus 10?
No,
maybe me.
10 and a half.
Yeah, it's okay. So, yeah, even with all the odds stacked against the Bears today with the injuries, I still thought it was going to be a closer game. So I was a little bit bummed at the end. I saw some people, it went up to 11 at some point, 11 and a half.
Went all the way up to 11.
That last field goal actually could have mattered if they kicked the extra point, but not for me.
They're fixing that.
What?
They're gonna award that because they didn't go to the extra point. They're gonna give the people that took that spread, that got fucked on it. Vandal Sports anyway is. I got a notification saying that they'll basically win the bet.
Yeah, maybe some won't. It depends on the book, but yeah, that was brutal if you had that. But oh man, Barney, do you have any last words to the Bears here before we briefly touch on next week? What's coming up next week here?
Yeah,
we'll have a lot more to say, I'm sure, going forward.
Yeah,
so.
it's just this offseason is going to be pretty unpredictable. But I hope the McCaskies in the next 24, 48 hours, I find out that all three of those knuckleheads, the Three Stooges, are gone.
And if he is gone, I mean, they're kind of late in the head coaching search process. Do you think that'll hurt him at all if they do fire him?
I mean, I don't know. I fucking knows.
All right, and I'm sure we'll be getting into it more as we go forward here. There's a lot to go down. So RIP to the Bears season. Let's move on to the one season that still remains here in the NFC North. That is the Green Bay Packers. And Kinger, your Packers will be taking on the Los Angeles Rams, who upset the Seahawks. And now,
shout out Kid J.
Yeah. So yeah, our producer Kid J, a Rams fan, but we got Kinger, a Packers fan here. So maybe you guys will do side bet or something like that on the game. The Packers 7-point favorites as of right now, going to that game. How do you like the matchup? Just really quick, are you happy with the matchup? Would you rather seen Tom Brady come or the Rams? I'd probably say the Rams and Jared Goff, right?
I definitely think I'm quite pleased that we're going to see the Los Angeles Rams next week instead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that being said, the Rams, I want to give them credit, and I don't want to overlook them. They'd have an excellent defense down there, obviously led by a couple of the best defensive players in the league, probably the best defensive player in Aaron Donald, and obviously we all know Jalen Ramsey is an absolute stud out there on the perimeter as well. So it's going to be a tough challenge. Number one scoring offense versus number one scoring defense. Get ready for the overused story this week of how LaFleur and McVay used to coach together. We're going to hear a lot of that, so I'm sure everybody's going to be well-versed on their history together heading into the game. But no, it's exciting. The Rams coming into Lambeau, love that. It's supposed to be cold, no snow right now, but, teens wind chill next week. So team coming west up to Green Bay, and I'm very excited to watch a playoff game next week.
And Devontae Adams and Jalen Ramsey, that's a really fun matchup to watch. Jalen Ramsey is legit.
No doubt. And like I said, there's a lot of respect to those guys on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun to watch that offense go up against one of, if not the best defenses in the league.
Absolutely. And that game taking place Saturday at 3:30. Not the best time slot, Kinger, I'd say, in terms of such a high-profile matchup. How do you feel about that time slot?
I was a little shocked that we didn't get the primetime slot, but, at the end of the day, whatever. I rest assured I'm not doing anything next Saturday at 3:30, so I like a little afternoon football. We'll get the beers flowing early. I got no complaints. It'll whenever we play next weekend, it didn't matter too much.
And you gotta like that they put them on a Saturday, and then Tampa Bay and New Orleans play on a Sunday. So that's one extra day of rest that the Packers will get if they win.
Absolutely,
and the advantage. So they're really giving the one seeds all the advantages this year. I don't know if that is going forward as well or what, but
definitely, yeah. We got lucky over the Chiefs. The Chiefs got that Sunday game, so we're the ones getting the extra. Yeah, so we're getting that extra day. The Bills are going to host that Saturday night game.
I wonder how they do that. I'm curious how they work that out. I don't know how it works.
Yep, I don't know either. But yep, first game kicking everything off next weekend.
All right, pile-on listeners. So I think that's going to wrap up our recap here of the wild card weekend. But before we go, Barney, you want to throw in one more thing before we move on or end this?
Yeah, right now. So thank you for everyone that reached out and was a part of our bracket pool contest. Yeah. We cut it off at 50 people. We got 50 people playing. So good luck to everyone out there. And if you didn't get in this one and you want in moving forward, I think we're gonna do some NFC AFC squares. So just reach out to me or the Pylon on Instagram, and we can get you all set up for that.
I just want to throw one with that pool. We're recording this right now. The Browns are up 42-23. Assuming they pull out the victory, I'll have a perfect first round. I think I'll be the only one.
Fuck
too.
you, Big Z.
I just wanted to add.
Nice of you to throw that in the episode.
I got to. Come on, that never happens. So,
no, that's impressive. You gotta walking out undefeated. You can never complain about that.
Now we'll see what happens next weekend. It's not a 1-round pool, unfortunately. So everybody's, I'm sure, plenty much alive.
You're not supposed to win your own pool, Big Z. Jesus.
All right, so. Hey, I mean, we're the experts, right? Our listeners got to go up against the experts. That's a tough task to handle.
My gambling record this year shows that I am very far from an expert.
All right, so I think that's going to wrap up here for the Pylon. Instagram at the Pylon, Twitter at the Pylon Pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe on there, and please share this podcast. We really appreciate that. Grow that NFC North community, and please leave a review on Apple. We'd really appreciate it. Again, sorry, Bears fans, about the end of your season. We'll see what happens going forward. Lions, Vikings fans, just keep enjoying watching the playoffs. Hope you get there next year. And Packers fans, get ready for next weekend as you're taking on the Rams in Lambeau. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a great start to your week.
Bear down.